All right, the results are in. 10 days ago, I put out a poll asking if a major conflict kicks off, should the United States reintroduce the military draft? 49% said yes, 26% said no, and personally, I agree with the 49% yes, kind of. Now, I know technically the draft still exists in the form of the selective service system that all Americans have to register for, but in this context, I'm talking about actual conscription into military service. The common argument against, at least that I've heard, is kind of twofold. The first is that it wouldn't be politically viable. I can understand that. It's hard to imagine a draft being needed today in 2022 with the threats the country currently faces. However, there have been times in our history, some not so far removed, where we have been able to come together as a nation. So it makes me think that in the right circumstance, at the right time, mandatory federal service isn't crazy, but notice I didn't say military service. The second common argument that I've heard against a military draft is more praising the all-volunteer force we've now had in place for over 50 years. Along those lines, there's a variation that you can draft infantrymen, but when it comes to operating the complex systems that make up our military today, you need somebody who wants to be there. And in that same vein, I've also heard that a professional all-volunteer force will almost always outperform a conscript force. I disagree with both of those. Desire to serve doesn't really have much of an impact on whether or not somebody can operate a piece of equipment. I mean, sure, it's complex, but that's what basic and advanced training is for. I will agree that if you grab a random group of professional soldiers and put them up against a group of new draftees, it's not a lot of competition. But historically, in major conflicts, that gap between professionally trained soldiers and draftees isn't as wide as we think. I mean, in both world wars, the US was a pretty draftee-heavy military. And that's one of the things we praise about the greatest generation, that they put down their civilian lives, picked up arms, and became one of, if not the most lethal fighting force in the history of mankind. So it can be done. Again, I don't think a national military draft is even close to being needed or feasible today, but I do think there are circumstances that could arise where it becomes more of a discussion. With all the advanced technology in our modern military, wars are still won or lost by people. And in a fight with a peer or near peer enemy, we're gonna need a lot of them. However, in a major conflict, data scientists, linguists, programmers might be more valuable to the war effort than individual riflemen. And if we have those resources available here in the United States, which we do, I believe the willingness to come together for a common good still exists if needed. Thank you to everyone who voted and commented on the poll. These are topics I love diving into. And if you've got ideas for future polls or discussions, throw them in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, as that helps the channel to reach more viewers. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.